Let's start with one of the most important topic of management, wherein we will talk about that how the activities are divided, or we can say that how a large organization is divided into various groups. Because when I talk about an organization as a whole cannot work individually, cannot be handled individually. It is a setup which has to be divided into various groups, or which has to be divided into various departments. Then only the activities or functioning of an organization will move smoothly. Otherwise, it will be leading to a great chaos. So, when great academicians, when great management practitioners think about this, that how an organization, a large organization, should be subdivided into parts and all the activities should be synchronized in a proper manner, they come up with the term departmentation. When I talk about departmentation, then I'm talking about a topic or an activity which divides the large organization into small subparts, and those subparts are known as various departments. All the departments are having their own functions, all the departments are having their own duties and responsibilities, and they have to perform those duties and responsibilities under that particular roof for which they are answerable, responsible, or authorized. So here it says departmentalization means grouping activities and people into departments, making it possible to extend organization. Because if you will be taking an organization as a single one, then the expansion of organization is not possible. You will be requiring many number of people and number of employees so that the departments can be managed very well. So what we does in practice, we divide the whole organization into different subparts, or we can say departments. And those departments are handed over to various personnel. Those personnel manage their department in their own way, perform all the duties, perform all the functions which are required to be performed by that particular department. If I talk about department, for example, finance department, HR department, marketing department, advertisement department, these are the various departments which have been created in an organization, and they perform their work as per the requirements. So, departmentation make it possible to expand the organization, at least in theory, to an indefinite degree. Yes, you can now expand your organization up to a large extent, because what you have done, you have divided your organization into sub-activities or sub-departments, and those sub-departments are managed by different people, different employees. So those employees are now looking after those departments, and we are having a departmental head, and that departmental head is basically responsible for all the activities of that particular department. Next, departmentalization refers to the formal structure of the organization composed of various departments and managerial positions and their relationship with each other. Now, here what happens when a department is made a wholesale authority, or it is working independently, then in that case what happens, all the people who are heading those departments are the head of that particular department, and we must also look over to the relationship between the employees in that particular department, because as I have talked earlier also, until we are having cordial relationship, our relations are friendly with each other, we are not able to manage our department very well. So, then our department cannot be managed in a very, smooth, or we can say that department cannot be managed in a very efficient manner. So, in this line, all the managerial positions have to manage their relationship with each other so that they can run their department very well and in a smooth manner. Next, as an organization grows, its department grow and more subunits are created, which in turn add more levels of management. Now, when your organization is growing day by day, then that organization have more departments into it, or we can say sub-departments into it. And those sub-departments help in growing the organization at a maximum level, because your small sub department become a large department after some time, and that large department creates a large organization. So now what you have to do is you have to very thoroughly go through the concept of departmentation, how departmentation is done and how it works, because until unless we are not clear with the concept of departmentation, we cannot apply it into an organization, and every organization needs departmentation. This often creates less flexibility, adaptability, and units of action within the firm. Yes, sometimes it happens that when we have divided our organization into various sub-departments, then flexibility is totally absent. Yeah, we are not flexible because we are having rigid departments divided, and we have to work as per the requirement of those particular departments. So if we want any kind of changes, then those changes are not possible. So to avoid this rigidity, to bring some flexibility in the department, we can have some technical practices to be adopted. Adaptability and units of action within the firm. Departmentalization is the efficient and effective grouping of jobs into meaningful work units to coordinate numerous jobs, all for the expeditious accomplishment of the organizational objectives. Now, what departmentation does? Departmentation is done only to make the work more efficient and effective, and grouping the jobs which are of same expertise and handling over them to the persons who belongs to that particular expertise only. Departmentation also help us to help us in division of work, or we can say division of work as per the specialization of the employee, because we have departments which are divided according to various functions only, and if the persons who are having expertise in that particular function and we are sending that person to that particular department, then it brings expertise to the department and it expedites the process of achieving the organizational objectives. So we can achieve our organizational objectives in a without any delay and a little bit earlier. Next, now we come to types of departmentalization. Now it means that in how much ways or in how much methods you can divide your departmentation. Departmentalization results from the division of work and the desire to obtain organization units of manageable size and utilize managerial ability. So departmentalization basically means that what you have to do is it starts from division of work to the desire to obtain organization of manageable size and utilize managerial ability. What we have to do is, first of all, we have to divide the work. Next, we have to go for a desire to obtain organizational units into manageable size. Departmentation does not mean that we have made large departments which are unmanageable. No, departmentalization basically means you have to divide the work into such small departments which are easily manageable, because once the things are divided in a very large form, then it becomes very tough to manage those departments, and if we are not able to manage any particular department, then it will be leading to delay in our achievement of our organizational objectives, and will further lead to other kind of problem in the organization. An organization structure and design are shaped significantly by the departmentalization followed. Now you can make the organization structure, you can make the organizational flow, or you can make the organizational design as per the following method. These are the various methods that how departmentalization or departmentation can be done in an organization. Now it depends upon the nature of organization, that how the organization performs, what is the level of organization, what is the area covered by organization, what is the product manufactured, whether the organization is into service or it is into job, whatever you are giving, it is a manufacturing concern or it is a service providing concern. So it depends upon the nature of organization. Then only we can pick up whichever type of departmentation we want in our organization. Next, we come to function. So the means of departmentalization are such: functional departmentalization. When I talk about functional departmentalization, we are talking about when we are making department according to the functions. Next, departmentalization by territory. It covers area wise. When you are dividing your organization area wise, suppose you are giving any particular area to one department, making second particular area to another department. So in this manner, when you are dividing your organization into departments on the basis of area, then it is departmentalization by territory. Departmentalization of organization by customer group. Customer group means, like we can say male, female, we can say senior or middle age group, we can have kids and youngsters. So in that manner, if we are dividing our organization or we are making departments on the basis of, you can say, customer, then it can be divided like that. Matrix departmentation. When I talk about matrix departmentation, then it is a little bit complicated type of departmentation where what we are doing, we are making a form of matrix. Matrix means that we are making a form of, we can say, a convenient model to divide our organization, and which is easily adaptable. We can adopt that particularly easily and as per our convenience. Planning task force. Next, this is when we are planning our task force or HR force or employees according to our need or requirement. An organizer is free to use any means of departmentalization in constructing an organization structure. In fact, in any given structure, several means are typically used. Now, whatever structure you are selecting for your organization, you have to go for several means, and those several means should be only adopted to make departmentalization into your organization. Now, this is the elaborated form of types of departmentalization. When I talk about functional departmentalization groups together jobs which are involving the same or similar activities. It allows the organization to staff all important positions with functional experts and facilitates coordination and integration. When I am talking about functional departmentation, then I am talking about a type of departmentation where what I have done, I have put in all the same type of activities at one place. Suppose all the marketing activities at one place, all the HR activities at one place, all the financial activities at one place, and with the employees having expertise in those particular activities. But we have people, we divide the work to the persons who are having expertise according to the department only. If I have divided marketing, finance and HR, Mr. A is expertise in finance, then I will be sending him to finance department, Mr. B into HR, Mr. C into marketing. But this departmentation also lead to more effective and efficient working, because the persons over there who are working in that particular department, they are also expertise in that particular field, according to which we have divided our department. So this is what is known as functional department. Next we come to departmentalization by territory. When I talk about departmentalization by territory method is where unless to local conditions appears to offer advantages such as low cost of operations and opportunities to capitalize on attractive local conditions as they arise. Territorial departmentalization is especially popular for sales where division appears feasible according to some geographic market segregation. Now, when I talk about departmentalization by territory, it means that other than local area, what I am doing, I am dividing my departments as per the area which are having more sales, area which are having our more target customers, but these areas are divided according to territory. What we have done, we have made territory. Suppose I divided like in the east, west, north, south, or I have applied or I have adopted some other method, but departmentation is totally done on the basis of area wise, we can say. We are dividing the things on the basis of geographic location, or we are taking any other kind of area division to make departmentation at various levels. Next we come to departmentalization of organization by customer group. Customer departmentalization is where the organization activities are ready to respond to and interact with specific customers or customer groups. As I told earlier also, when I go for departmentalization by customer group, it means that when I am making different sections, suppose you enter a departmental store and what you found there, ground basement is kids section, first floor is male section, second floor is female section. So what we have done, it is, I am talking about at a small level. So in this form only, when we divide or make customers on the basis of customer group, like male, female, kids, young, like that, if this is known to be departmentalization on the basis of customer groups, because you can also say that you have divided on the basis of age groups also, like 5 to 10, then 10 to 15, like this also we can also have. So when an organization adopt the method to divide or to make the departments on the basis of customer group, so it is known as departmentalization by customer group. Matrix departmentation. Matrix departmentalization attempts to combine functional and task force project departmentalization designed to improve the synchronization of multiple components for a single. So matrix departmentalization basically means when we are having departmentalization on the hybrid mode. Hybrid mode here means to say when you are adopting two types of departmentalization techniques and then combining both of them. As the examples given over there, functional and task force. Now here what you have done, you have taken two types of departmentalization, one functional and another one projected task force. In this method, what we do, we take our task force or projected task force and we allocate them or sublocate them according to the functions of the department perform. So as per the need and requirement, the functions which are performed by any particular department, when it is given or it is combined with that particular task force which is required, then it is known as matrix departmentalization. Matrix departmentalization means it is a type of hybrid departmentalization where what we are doing, we are combining two types of techniques of departmentalization to make a single department. Next we come to planning task force. Planning task force is most often formed when the organization requires addressing special circumstances. It is more preferable and efficient than maintaining a different planning staff or department. Planning task force is basically, we can say, adopted or it is required at emergency level. When we are having any kind of specific emergency and we want to meet out that. So for that purpose, what we do, we have a task force with us, and that task force is utilized at that particular time when we have any kind of specific, you can say, emergency created, or we are having any kind of mishappening or any kind of extra requirement is there, then we don't have to see here and there. We are having a projected task force and that task force is asked to go there and perform the task. Next we come to span of control. Again, one of the very important topic, or we can say one of the very important technique, concept of management, because if span of control is not proper or a person, a superior is not having, properly applied span of control, then it is very tough for one to manage his task force or his employees. The larger an organization, the more management layers it has. Correct? As the organization grows, the management levels or the management layers also grows. So, how these various growing layers are to be managed? As a result, a hierarchy is born. Multiple people in a department deal with a single superior. Some departments might only have 10 people, while others consist of over 100 of employees. In both cases, span of control is present to properly manage all layers of the organization. Before going into this, first of all, I would like to make you clear what do we mean by span of control. A span of control basically means the number of employees managed by a single superior. A span of control means that how much or how many employees should fall under a single superior, because if a single superior is having large number of employees, then it is very tough for him to manage that task force, because he is not able to put stress or attention to all of them. So it happens that some work can be done wrong, or we should be facing inefficient or ineffective techniques. So to avoid this, what we do, we make the things, we create a proper span of control which would help us out to manage or to supervise or to look after a particular task force. Then the span of control is the number of employees a manager can supervise as effectively as possible. The addition of new hierarchical layers makes the organizational structure steeper. As more and more layers are added on, the hierarchy in the organization it becomes more steeper. Steeper means to say that we are having more number of people falling under a single manager. Now it becomes very tough because as the hierarchy is added on persons, more persons are also added on, right? So now adding of these more persons, is it okay or is it be feasible for that same manager to supervise them, or we should add someone else? So this is what is span of control, that when you find that your manager is having a large number of people to supervise, then the span of control should be disciplined and we can have a change in it. Because if you are adding more and more hierarchical layer into your organizational structure, then those hierarchical layer should also be given a head who will be supervising them. A large span of control leads to a flatter organization structure which results in lower cost. A small span of control creates a steeper organizational structure which requires more managers and which will be consequently be more expensive for the organization. It is therefore useful for an organization if its manager have a large span of control. Now, when you are having a large span of control, then your organization structure becomes flatter, but a small span of control makes your organization like this steeper. We have to avoid this, because if you are having a small span of control, then it will be requiring more and more managers, and more managers means more and more salary. More and more salary means more and more expensive for the organization. So what we have to do, we have to make a large span of control which will be flat, creating a flat organizational structure, and that organizational structure will be leading to more effective and efficient job or task done. Next we come to increasing span of control, that how we should increase our span of control. What would be the objective? What would be the factors which we have to study before increasing our span of control? Because it doesn't mean that you are having a single manager, day by day you are adding the subordinates under him. He has to supervise more and more people on daily basis. So is it possible, or is it required, or how many people should be added to existing span of control? That we are going to study over here. When a manager supervises a large number of employees, he often has little time to align activities and monitor the quality of how activities are executed. Very correct. Because if suppose a manager is checking out number of people, 1,000 number of people or 100 of people, then we cannot expect that he will be able to check out or verify that the things are going on very right. No, he will not be. Why? Because as much as the span of control is spread or expand, it becomes very tough for the manager to check whether the task or job is being performed in a very efficient manner, or the organizational objectives would be achieved sooner. No, because he will be not able to align or make a coordination between the various activities which are going on in the organization. So, a span of control should be such that a manager can be able to check and verify all the activities which are going to be done in the organization. Because until unless it is being done, then we will not having an efficient organization. Every situation needs to be assessed individually based on factors that determine the span of control. If a situation arises in which a supervisor manages too many employees, there are several ways for finding a solution to increase the span of control. You have to, every organization must have a check on this, that how many employees are being supervised by a single manager. And if he finds that yes, large number of employees are being supervised by a single manager, then he has to find out way out that how we can come out with this problem. How our managers should have less number of people to be supervised, because we will not be able to have good performance, we will not be able to have efficient performance, we will not be able to manage our resources properly. So to avoid these problems, the span of control should be never overlooked. It is very important point. It should be given proper and due concern. Training the manager, teaching management skills such as delegating and clear communication. Training employees, teaching them to work independently and make better use of their time. Delegation by the manager, decreasing his workload and improving the division of labor. Now this we can do. When we found that we are having a large span of control, then we can adopt any of the techniques so that our manager can be more efficient. He will be able to work more and he will be give us more and more better result. Training the manager, we can train the manager. Teaching management skills, yes, we can teach in various management skills and lessons, and delegating and clear communication. And we should teach him also that you can also delegate your responsibilities. You can also delegate your responsibilities, and you must have a clear communication between superiors and subordinates, because manager is a link-in. What is manager? Manager is a link-in between top level and lower level. Training employees, teaching them to work independently and make better use of their time. Delegation by the manager, decreasing his workload and improving the division of labor. These are the various techniques which can be adopted if we want to increase our span of control. If we want to give more employees to be supervised by a single manager, then these techniques should be adopted. Then only span of control should be increased. Otherwise, it should not be increased. Clear? Moving to the next point. Improving procedures and systems. When procedures take up a lot of time, it is a good idea to find efficient solutions with the help of the management team. Yes, when your working style, your process are taking a lot of time, then how to reduce that time? You have to go think for that also. Involving HR, you will unburden the manager by taking over certain special tasks such as departments, HR policies. Yeah, your HR department can help the manager by taking some of his responsibilities, or by showing the onus of taking the responsibilities and helping him out to do his work more effectively and efficiently. Assigning a personal assistant who can take over routine activities, reducing the manager's workload, right? Appointing an assistant manager who reports to the manager but in the perception of the subordinates is fully qualified in terms of executive and policy tasks and can act as manager when needed. Now these are also some of the points which should be think out when you are increasing your span of control, or when you are increasing the number of employees to be supervised by a single manager. Next, this is the example I have given so that we can make a span of control more clear to you all. An example has been taken from my side. Let's go through it. A situation with a manager with years of experience leading a team of approximately 40 people. Problems arise when his team is reduced to 20 people as a result of cutbacks. At first, everything seems to be okay. Everyone knows what is expected of them, but as time goes by, the manager starts feeling uneasy. He wants to have more control and more things go his way. Now, this is an example when we are reducing the number of employees, or when the number of employees has been reduced due to some cost cutting or other kind of requirement. Employees start to feel the manager is constantly looking over their shoulder and they see his presence as a hindrance. It is likely that the manager will start to get bored and will no longer be able to find intrinsic motivation in his work. Conflicts may arise and small problems become big ones very easily. In some cases, the manager can feel he is not sufficiently stimulated, which can have very negative consequences. Now, in this example, what happens? A manager who from years and years, or who is having a large number of years of experience of maintaining a team of 40 people or supervising a team of 40 people, randomly that team has been reduced to 20 people due to cost cutting and all. Now what happens? The manager started feeling uneasy. He is not comfortable because earlier he was supervising a team of 40 people. Now it is totally half done. So he feels that he is having more of time. He is not having more people on his way. He is not having more things to do. He is not having more work to do. So in this form only, employee also start that the manager is constantly becoming a hindrance for them. Why? Because earlier the manager was engaged into 40 employees, but now the same manager is engaged with only 20 employees. So he will be looking like a hindrance because he is again and again interfering into the work of existing employees. Earlier he was aligning the activities of 40 employees, but now what he is doing, he is aligning the activities of only 20 employees. So both employees feel to start that the manager is becoming hindrance in his work, because earlier the manager was aligning the task or activities of 40 employees, wherein now he is only aligning with 20 employees, so he is also having more time. So when he is having more time, he will be more engaged with the activities of the employees, and the number of employees are also very less. So this is the problem which can be created when we decrease our span of control. This is, I have given an example of increase. In the same manner, when your span of control is increased, then the employee should also feel that you are overloaded. Why? Because the manager is having more number of employees to be supervised. He cannot give proper and individual attention to every employee. So this condition should not also arise. What to do? We must have a proper span of control and a proper number of employees to be supervised. Neither too much nor too less. It should be a number. It should be a count which can be managed or supervised very easily. Next we come to staffing. Again, one of the very important functions of management, that is staffing, because staff, or we can say human resource, this is the most important element of any organization. If an organization wants to become a good one, he wants to have success, then the team, your backbone, your employees, your HR, your staff should have a very strong and confident one. Your team must be so much strong that it must be, after your organizational objectives to how to achieve them. The managerial function of staffing involves manning the organizational structure through proper and effective selection, appraisal, and development of the personnel to fill the roles assigned to the employers or workforce. Now, what is staffing? First, let clear with the concept of staffing. When we talk about staffing as a layman, we say that our process wherein what we are doing, we are filling the vacant position. All those positions which are lying vacant in an organization, this is an activity which is done to fill them. Because until unless all the vacancies are being filled, an organization cannot run properly. So staffing, it is a process or it is a function of selecting, recruiting and training the personnel. Because if you are having right personnel in your organization, then your organization would be of a great success, because employees are the core part of success of an organization. For the success of an organization, employees are the core part. According to Theo Hyman, staffing pertains to recruitment, selection, development, and compensation of subordinates. When I talk about recruitment, then I talk about what policy, what methods, what technique should be adopted to recruit or to make the vacancies public. Selection means all those people who have approached us, selecting the best out of them, who is the eligible and best candidate suitable for that particular position which is being vacant. Development, training and development, it's must, because if your employees are not properly updated, they are not trained with the latest technologies, latest models, latest things, then organization will not be able to survive. Compensation, salary, remuneration. Again, the most important part, because why an employee work only for financial incentives, or we can say monetary benefits. So if those monetary benefits are not satisfying the employee, then the employee will not be giving you good results. He will be not giving you maximum output. So to avoid this condition, we have to think about compensation of employees. Next, concept of staffing. When I talk about concept of staffing, it can be studied under the following points. Concept means nature, or we can say the characteristics. Staffing is an important managerial function. Yes, because if you are not having proper staff or proper employee in an organization, then it will be very tough for an organization to move. Because if employees are not good, they are not efficient or effective, then at every step, organization will be facing some or other problem. At every step, employees will be creating some or the other problem. So to avoid this thing, we must get very strongly prepared before recruiting or selecting our HR. So that's why staffing becomes a very important managerial function, because if we select wrong persons, then it will be very tough for us to survive and for our organization to survive. So to avoid this problem, what we do, we prepared ourselves very well, excellently before selecting employees. Staffing is a pervasive activity. Pervasive activity means it exists everywhere because no organization can run without human resource or employees. So if a small or large organization, it must have employees to start its work. And from where we'll be getting the employees? From the activity or functions of staffing. So staffing exists everywhere. That's why it is said to be a pervasive activity. Staffing is a continuous activity, never ending. Staffing never ends because organization keeps going on, people keeps going on leading the organization, and organization keeps keeping new people into the organization because organization goes on. As organization, moving of organization is a continuous process. In the same form, staffing is also a continuous activity which never ends. The basis of staffing function is efficient management of personnel. Yes, the main base on which staffing function laid down is your efficient management of personnel, that your personnel, your employees should be managed in such an efficient manner that first of all they are totally satisfied. We should not have a dissatisfied staff with us. Our employees should be fully contented with the environment of the organization, with the salary structure, with the promotion policies, with the training and development activities which are being done in an organization. So for all this, what you have to do, you have to keep into mind every aspect of an employee so that you can have an efficient management of personnel, and that efficient management of personnel will lead an organization to great success. Staffing helps in placing right man at the right job. Right man at the right job means the person with right skills required for right work. If I want a person for HR working, then I must have a person with expertise in HR, because a person having expertise in marketing will not be giving me good results in HR department. So staffing helps us to keep right person at right place. Staffing is performed by all managers. Yeah, all the managers are performing this function at their own level, because all the managers are making their team satisfied, making their team contented, and giving them roles and responsibilities, which is again a part of staffing at a small level. So staffing is performed by all managers. Next we come to nature of staffing. When I talk about nature of staffing, I talk about characteristics of staffing, I talk about features of staffing, then I say staffing is an integral part, important part of human resource management. It facilitates procurement and placement of right people on the right job. That right people should be placed at right job. This is only the duty of our staffing, because if staffing is done in a proper manner, then only we will be having right person at right job. So the nature of the staffing function is discussed below. It can be studied into given 4 points. People-centered. The function of staffing is always people-centered, because when I am talking about staffing, then I am talking about not about machines. I am talking about those human resources which are available within an organization, and we have to manage that. We have to make that particular employee or human resource fully contented and satisfied. So staffing is always done people-centered. It is never machine-centered, or it is never capital-centered. Second point says responsibility of every manager. Yes, making your employee satisfied or contented is responsibility of every manager. It is not only the responsibility of top level or middle level or any particular individual manager. It is the responsibility of all the managers who are having a team under them, so that their team should be always motivated, and their team will be, how their team will be motivated? When we will be having a satisfied and contented team, when our team will be totally satisfied with our working, because until we are having a satisfied, contented team, the level of motivation will also not increase, and that will lead to unachievement of organizational objectives. Point 3 says human skills. When I talk about human skills, then I am talking about the relationship among the peoples. Now again, this is the role of staffing, that we must have cordial relationship among ourselves. All the employees must be coordinately related with each other. We must be having good, smooth relations with each other, so that we cannot have any kind of conflicts in the organization, and conflicts can be avoided. Continuous function, yes, staffing is a continuous function, because an organization as moves on and on, or it grows on and on, or it expands up to a large extent, then staffing is to be done. We cannot say that any time that now the staffing function is over. No, because if you are updating your employees, you are providing training to your employees, or you are developing your employees, then also the staffing function is going on, and that is required at every phase. A well-trained employee, a fully developed employee is the asset for an organization, and that asset should be created by staffing function, because until unless you are having a well-trained task force, workforce behind you, organization cannot go for a great success. Next we come to importance of staffing. Now, when we talk about significance or importance of staffing, then it is most important for the organization that right kinds of people are employed. Yes, the staff or the employee selected should be the right and suitable person for the organization. Because if you are not having right person for the organization, then organization will not be able to grow. They should be given adequate training so that wastage is minimum. They must also be induced to show higher productivity and quality by offering them incentives. These are the various tactics which can be adopted to motivate the people you are having into your workforce. Now, point 1 says in importance, efficient performance of other functions. When staffing is done very well, then planning, controlling other functions also goes very well. But when staffing is not done very well, then other functions are not able to also go very well. Effective use of technology and other resources. Technology available, other resources available should be used efficiently, and they can be only used efficiently when you are having a trained and good workforce behind you. Optimum utilizing resources should not be wasted. No, rather they should be used up to their maximum level, because if resources are not used up to their maximum level, then it will be very tough to save or to make more and more profits. Wastage will lead to more and more losses. Development of human capital. Human capital means human resource should be developed in such a manner that they should become human capital for an organization. Here we are talking about employees, human capital. So think how we are comparing our employees with the capital. We are converting them into human capital. How? When we are having good staffing function. Because if staffing function is not done properly, the step taken during recruitment selection process, during training and development process are not proper and appropriate, then we cannot create a force of human capital. Motivation of human resources. Employees should be always motivated, filled with zeal and enthusiasm for their work, and they must have a sense of belongingness for the organization. Building a higher morale. Their morale should be always built up. They must be very much confident, so that they must be ready to work for the organization more and more at any time, and they must be able to give more to their organization. This is what is the basic function of staffing. So here we wind up. Thank you.